Hello everyone, good evening. Welcome back to another live stream at Global Hack Week. I can see a lot of hi in the chat. Hey Uday, hey Nitin, welcome to the stream. We also have a question. Hey TechRax, how often is Global Hack Week held? Global Hack Week is held every month. Every month we have different themes of Global Hack Week. So if you want to know more, you can just go to globalhackweek.mlh.io. You will be able to know all the upcoming themes which will be there in Global Hack Week edition. And see, this Global Hack Week is basically the career week which we are going to discuss about. And this particular session will be all about hacking with JavaScript. But before we actually start with, I really want to know about all the folks joining in. Hey Thinkers, welcome to the stream. Hey Silver Shade, welcome to the streams. Thanks for hopping in. Okay. So to start with, if we particularly talk about what we are going to discuss, if you're someone who is very much not comfortable with JavaScript, we are going to cover all the basics of JavaScript. We are going to build an application of JavaScript. We are going to check on all the boxes which are the basic requirements which you need to know before you actually think, before you need to create a project or need to use JavaScript. Hey Faisal, I am Afzal. Oh hi, hey buddy, welcome to the stream. Okay, I can see a lot of hi in the chat. We'll just wait for a minute or so for all the folks to hop in. We can just quickly we'll discuss about all the things. I should also close this gate. Just a second, folks. And I'm back. Just making the normal requirements that everything is good. I'll just need a final check before we proceed. Am I clearly audible and visible? So I can start with my slides. I'll also request you folks to keep your code editors ready. Once we discuss the basic things about JavaScript, we'll be creating applications. So, hey Kingspread, thanks for hopping on the session. Okay, any one of you can give me a clarification if I am clearly audible and visible, and you can see the slides too. Hmm, just looking for someone's consideration in the chat so that we can start. And this session will be super fun, lighted. Oh, TechRex says okay. Thanks, TechRex. So this session will be super fun, lighted. You will be learning a lot of things. If you're comfortable with HTML, CSS, see HTML, CSS, I guess a lot of freaks get comfortable with but when we talk about JavaScript, it's something people get a bit hesitant to while working with. So during the course of this live stream, we'll discuss about how JavaScript can actually help you to get better with your web development projects. We'll be creating an application, and we'll also discuss about the frameworks which uses JavaScript to build. So you might have heard about React, Angular, and Vue.js. We'll also discuss about that. And if you're someone who is in a dilemma, what should I choose? Should I choose React? Should I choose Angular, or should I choose Vue.js? So I have made a comparison table which is actually going to help you of what you can discuss out with. Okay, I can see a lot of yours in the chat, so we can start out with. Okay, what kind of app are we building? We will be building the basic app using JavaScript, which will be fully functional, more like a to-do app. Once we complete all the things, we that's not in the scheduled thing, but I'll definitely make sure I cover that before the stream ends. Thanks, Ketan. Okay, to start up with, hey everyone, I am Vinayak Rawat. I'm a coach at Major League Hacking. I'm also a full stack developer. I particularly code in Angular for the front end part. And also, if you want to catch me tweeting some amazing stuff around hackathons, around technologies, you can always catch me on my socials. That is IG underscore X. Hmm. Okay, what are the things we will be doing today? First would be a basic overview of JavaScript. What is JavaScript? What are the things you need to know before you actually jump into JavaScript? Then the basic advanced JavaScript concepts such as object, array, ES6. These concepts are very important when you actually dive into JavaScript, because if you do not learn about this and you enter into JavaScript just to start writing code, you're going to miss out on a lot of things. Then again, we will move to the hands-on coding exercise that we will be discussing. Also, we'll be building application with JavaScript. That is something we discussed. And the last would be a Q&A and conclusion. In this Q&A, we will also cover all the frameworks which works with JavaScript and how which framework should you use if you are getting a bit confused. Hmm. Okay, next up we have, okay, starting out with what is JavaScript. A lot of folks have said that what they think about JavaScript. So if you have ever heard about JavaScript, so what's your definition before I actually give in my definition of what JavaScript is? Anyone, if they want to write in the chat, like what do you think about JavaScript particularly? What do you feel JavaScript is? See, there is a basic definition of JavaScript which is available over internet. That is, JavaScript is a scripting language that helps you create dynamically update content and control multimedia, animate images, and pretty much everything else. Okay, so if I talk about when we talk about things like dynamically updating content, it's like if we are doing a certain action, there should be a change in web page. No, hacking here means just to create projects using JavaScript, not the actual hacking. We do majorly hacking do not promote actual hacking at any cost. So when I talk about dynamically updating content, it means if you are on a web page, you click over a button, action should happen, right? So that is basically dynamically. When we talk about static means you just have a web page. Yeah, this is specifically with respect to web development. When we talk about static pages, it's basically a single page with just the information and no other. You can clearly say any dynamically updated thing. Yes, thanks, Yash. It's more like adding interactivity to a website, and you can make a lot of use of JavaScript when you talk about, because see, there are two particular reasons why JavaScript is super good. The reason is JavaScript helps you to make things which will make your websites or the thing which you have built more interactable with people. Every time you build a project, that project is not just will be restricted to you. It will also go through a lot of other people whom you want to make sure that they see your website when you host a website online, and you do not want to put it statically, right? You want people. Yeah, see, router came up with an amazing answer. JavaScript is a versatile programming language used for web development to create dynamic web content, the thing which we were actually focusing on. It removes web content and controls dynamically, minus the document object model that we will also cover, and communicate with the server after the page has loaded. So when we talk about JavaScript, is basically client side running. So when we talk about client side running, it means when you write code JavaScript for a web development, all the changes happen on the person who is actually using our application. So for example, if someone has opened the website of Global Hack Week page, and if they click on a particular button, it is taking them to a new page, right? So that is the role of JavaScript, because it's pushing them to do another action rather than just you can clearly say being a static page. Hey 404, welcome to the stream. Okay, talking about, and again, why JavaScript is very much important in web dev. It's again the first thing which we talked about. It's more like client side scripting. When we talk about client side scripting, it means clearly, which I have told you right now. that all the changes will happen on the client side infrastructure. All the dynamic code which you have written for it will be happening on the side of the person who is actually borrowing your or going through your application. Second is enhanced user interaction. When you actually put up a static page for someone, all it will feel like is just a page with normal information, or it can be graphically good. But if you want to have a good user interaction, JavaScript should be there in your web development page. The next thing is cross browser compatibility. JavaScript is compatible with almost all the browsers, I feel. If you talk about Google Chrome, then you have Brave. And also one thing, when you will go deep into JavaScript, you will go deep into debugging and all the other cases, you will find two things. The things are, it will be very easy if you want to, you can say, if you have any errors, you will be able to find it in the console log of those browsers. So that is going to help. Asynchronous programming, if you are getting a bit worried by the word, asynchronous programming means when an actual application is running. Hey hey Nisar, welcome to the stream. I can see a lot of folks hopping in. So okay, getting back, when we talk about asynchronous programming, you can see in a web development page, a lot of operations can be going at a singular point of time. So it can happen that one application will only work when others should end. So this is the best part about JavaScript, right? A application can be running, but you can also run other activities in your web development page using JavaScript. JavaScript has an amazing community and ecosystem. If I talk about, you will find amazing docs over internet if you want to learn more about JavaScript. And most importantly, the last point is rich ecosystem of libraries and frameworks. When we talk about rich ecosystem, it basically focuses on all the other frameworks and libraries which are using JavaScript or which are somewhat dependent on JavaScript to fully run. So when you talk about React, Angular, Vue.js, this type of technologies are something which are dependent on JavaScript if they want to make it more user interactive in their places. Hmm. If we move to our next slide, that is all right. How but can I start working with? So I'm going to show you an example of what JavaScript can does, but there will be a lot of things where you will feel okay, what has actually happened. So let me just start sharing my screen. Present, share screen. Okay, let me see if okay. I guess this is the CodePen interface. So just see me coding for the next 5 minutes. I'm going to make something and I'm going to write its code. That's it. So let me do it. Okay, starting up with, I'll create a button, and basically if you have learned about HTML, you can give the type button. No, what's the issue? Okay, looks good. Button, you can close this and you can write the button name. So I'm thinking of making it player one Chris, right? And I'll close this button. So this is actually a live compiler. If you write a certain amount of code, it will actually make it up to you. Let me change the interface. Oh, so that is screen. Oh, okay, screen I guess is yeah, Fanny. These streams are more like basically this is totally new. You do not need to have information about other streams to get information about this stream. If you're someone looking to know more about JavaScript, this stream is for you. And we are talking from the basics. This compiler is CodePen. This compiler is CodePen. So you can just log on to CodePen. It's more like you can have activities such as hmm, uh, live coding. Particularly, you can also use VS Code, but for just for visualization purposes, I have making it here in CodePen. And hey, thanks TechWars. For those who might have forgotten, do not forget to check into the event so that you will be able to get a point for yourself. Okay, let me start up with the CSS properties to make it more good. So if someone want to suggest me a CSS property, what it can be, we can make the text align to center. I'm sure I'm putting the right spelling for text align. Mix color, we can put it as blue. Yep. Color is blue. We can also give it its padding. Padding is basically the space in between the box. So 3 px from the sides and 10 px from top and bottom. Okay, we can. And what type of other thing we can actually give for the CSS? We are actually making just a basic simple application using JavaScript. I'm just going to make folks know what you can do using JavaScript. So I'm just making a simple button, and with the help of this button, I'm just okay. This would be the last property, I guess, and then we can move to the JavaScript part. Okay, so you can see here player one Chris. So if you're someone who is making a static website, the person can only see player one Chris. That's it, nothing more else than that. That's it. Now if you actually add JavaScript to it, if I really want to make see, for example, if you have actually played a game over internet, if you change the player name from player 1 Chris to player 1, you can say Yash or 404. But here you cannot do it because it's more like static. I have hard coded everything, but now I want to make like a change dynamically. So what I can do is, and you do not need to worry, we are going to discuss about all of these things such as const, let, vars throughout the stream that will actually help you know that what is actually happening. So let me write all the things first. Query selector. Hmm. Query selector button. You do not need to worry. I'm showing you an application. Yep, DOM manipulation basis basically. But we are going to discuss about this. But I'm just showing you what is the power of JavaScript before we actually go into JavaScript and discuss those things. We have event listeners in JavaScript. When you click a button, what will happen? So if someone has never worked with JavaScript, it will actually help you to think, okay, these other things can actually be done by JavaScript. Hmm. So for this, I should make a function now. Function. You can name this function anything which you want. So I'll make it update name because I want to update the name of the player. So let me use the brackets. So here we actually currently what you want to do is player one is Chris, right? Yep, this is an introductory session to JS. You will know more about what JS is, the frameworks, everything in this session. So before we actually deep down into JavaScript, I'm just letting folks explain what JavaScript can actually do. So I haven't told anything about JavaScript, but I'll tell you what the power JavaScript actually holds. So what I'll do is I'll use const name, and in the const name category, I'll write do a prompt. Just let me get me correct prompt. It's actually mpt prompt enter a new name, right? You need to make a prompt that is enter new name, and button dot text content will be equals to, man, this server is slightly so I feel, content is equals to, that is backticks player one and dollar name. I guess this should do. Okay, I'm missing the dollar I feel. Okay, this should work. We have given this, we have given the name. Const name is prompt enter a new name. Okay. So anybody would like to guess what will actually happen? Like when I guess this is auto updated. So if I want to click, if I click on this button, what will actually happen? If someone want to predict, like I've written a basic HTML code, a basic CSS code, a basic JS code. In the JS code, I have just done one thing. The one thing is I have made a function that will happen when we click on it. So what will actually happen? See, yep. an alert will come and change the button name. That is what a JavaScript thing can do. So when you click on this, it will say enter a new name. So let's write Yash 404. So if we write that, you can clearly see the player one Chris has now turned to, yep, I guess Nisarg also picked it. There will be a prompt where we can add name like V Free Peter, and the name will be replaced by player one. Oh, it's a different window. Okay. Let me do one thing. Let me share my whole screen. Just a second. Because I really want to show you folks the prompt window. Okay, can you see it now? Okay, so when you click here and you write Nisarg, okay, it will change the player name to Nisarg. That is how this is gonna work. Again, if you want to change another name, you can write to Vinayak. So this is how dynamically you can actually update features in your JS application. As simple as it gets. So this is how the JavaScript function actually works. Oh, screen. My man, that's my bad. Wait. Let me do it once again. I forgot we have to click share on once again. Okay, I guess this is done now. So when you clearly check here this, now if I click here and I write Miss Sark, it will write okay. So the name has changed from player one Nisar. If you only would have written the HTML and the CSS code, this would have been static, right? The player one Chris name which I write it here in the HTML part. Because of JS now it's fully interactive, dynamically updated, and proper user friendly. And we talk about client side. When you actually push this code to a good level where other folks can actually see your project, they will be also able to make changes to it. That's it. I guess the screen was shareable this time. Yep, I guess that is because of the CodePen editor. But if I'll tell you one thing, Yash, you can search Sweet Alert in JavaScript. So when you actually search for Sweet Alert, no, it will be a special alert when you will actually use the JavaScript alerts. That is because of the CodePen editor. That alert looked so good. Otherwise, it would have been a simple Chrome alert, which usually happens. Okay, I guess till now everything is pretty much explained. You do not need to think about what code I've written. I've used terminologies like const, function, add event listener. These are basically parts of JavaScript which we will be discussing throughout the session. So you do not need to particularly worry. But this is the power which actually is being holded by JavaScript. It's totally dynamic. It's client server side. You can make it more interactive, user friendly, so people will be actually able to interact with your application rather than just to see a static application. Hey Vinayak, is there a way to get autocomplete suggestions in CodePen? I guess that feature is uploaded in the premium version of CodePen, because for such things I'll always prefer GitHub code spaces if you can have them, but through your college thing or something, because CodePen doesn't have it in the free version as of now. I feel, because it automatically suggests you code. Why, hi Tejas, why are you not working on Replit? Uh, because I feel CodePen is a better way to have a good representation. I can also use Replit, but I've used CodePen for a longer period of time due to my mentors. Yeah, VS Code will always be there. Let me tell you that VS Code will always be there. My main customized, you can say, all-time best code editor will always be this VS Code only. So you do not need to worry about it. As simple as it gets. Yep, exactly. When you work actually working with friends, you will find online coding editors getting to do well. That's it. See, I am the person who will be actually raising the hands here. Because when I actually started working with JavaScript, I was always used to use console. And even you will find it here. You are going to see me use console a lot during the stream. So that's the case. Yep, exactly. GitHub Student Pack is particularly, I guess, it's a lot of savior of time. You get to know about a lot of things. I still remember when we were actually working on a hackathon, how GitHub Student Pack actually helped us with the Discord thing. Okay, I guess we should not get away from our thing which we were discussing. I hope the example is clear. You do not need to worry. I'll be sharing all the code snippets which we have discussed till now, so you do not need to worry about it. And just give me a minute. Let me add this here. Hmm. The next thing which we actually should work about is, yeah, if see, GitHub Student Pack comes up with a lot of things. If I tell you in easy, so if I talk about GitHub Student Pack, you can just go and find it in GitHub Student Developer Pack. You will be able to cover amazing courses of web development, Python, Java, machine learning. For accessing Student Developer Pack, you need to sign in from your college ID. They'll verify it, and it will help you, as simple as it gets. So you get GitHub, you get intro to web dev. Then you get things which will help you in a hackathon, such as Typeform, GitHub Pages, Visual Studio Code, premium version for a certain amount of time. Then you also have developer options, a lot of things. I guess GitHub Pack has almost a lot of things, so you should definitely explore. And we also have Launchpad, that is basically intro to JavaScript and in comparison with Scrimba. So that is going to help you. Can you please? You can find me on LinkedIn on IG underscore raw x. So, oh, if you want me to share the GitHub slides, just a second. GitHub page. Wait a second. Let me do that too. Okay. I hope this is clearly visible. If you are a folk who is in college, you should definitely have the GitHub Student Developer Pack. It will help you in a lot of ways. You will be learning more about GitHub. I guess they have recently added a security and monitoring part too. Then you have the Copilot Primer version that includes GitHub Copilot, GitHub Code Spaces, and Visual Studio Code. You can integrate the GitHub Code Spaces in the Visual Studio Code. I guess someone asked, does it give you code? Like, does it suggest you code? And yeah, the student pack will expire when you will be out of college. I can always agree to that. GitHub Student Developer Pack is always useful. Just have your college ID. It will verify you within 1 day or so, maximum 1 day, I guess, and it will help you to gain all the accesses, such as it will help you to get on all the career readiness. Then you have Intro to Web Dev course. You also have Hackathon in a cloud. I still remember how better I've used this. We have data science. You have a lot of things in GitHub Developer Pack, which is going to help you. And this, the Launchpad intro to JavaScript. I guess I've also learned JavaScript from here, so it will definitely help you. So again, you do not need to worry if you're a college student. Make sure you go and use the GitHub Student Developer Pack. Yep, it also has a free domain too. I remember as of now. What is I don't have a college? What if, I guess you do not need a college email ID for sure. You can also use a personal ID. Uh, it will help you see if you have a direct college ID, it will be able to verify you very fast. Otherwise it will take a bit time to get you verified, but with your college ID photograph and the number, registration number, you will be able to get the GitHub Student Developer Pack. Okay, I guess we are moving away from our course of action. We should get back to this. Yep, we have discussed. Yep yep you need to use a college ID card. Yep, you need to use a college ID card. It will ask you for the photos front and the back. It will ask you for a registration time. Someone from the GitHub team will verify it and they will give you the certain access which will help you for it. Okay, we can get back to JavaScript. We have discussed about what JavaScript is, why JavaScript in web development. We have also built a small application which shows how JavaScript actually helps you. But now we can move forward to other things, starting up with basic syntax and data types. So starting up with variable and constants, right? So when I coded there, you might have saw me see written const, then a particular thing, and then I have declared it something to variables. So this is the difference between a variable and a constant. Let me again switch to my coding screen. I wish I'll just cover the technical part quick. We'll move to the application part super fast. So if I go back to my coding pen, just give me a second. We'll talk about all the basic syntaxes, which is okay. I definitely need a second monitor. So it's basic. 90% of us know. I totally feel, but I guess I should cover this super quick so that if someone, the 10% of the folks who do not know should know more about it. Yeah, I can wait. I can totally know Tejas. I will talk about ES6, its features, and all the other things. But I still need to see if people know about basic JavaScript, right? Because this is the thing which I wanted to target. We are making an application at the end, but it's important you check for and wait for other folks to know. There can be a chances a lot of folks are actually learning JavaScript for the first time. So that is how things are working. But do not worry. Let me try to just keep it very quick. So if I talk about, let me remove all those things. So when we talk about variables and constants, so if you want to let something, that is let first name is equals to null. So this is basically your letting something. Basically, you can also change its value when it's come in the higher number of time. If you want to say, if you want to change the first name to something else after a certain point of time, that will also work. And then when you talk about const, it's basically you are defining something and now you cannot change it. So what will happen is I can change my first name, but I cannot change my age because I've actually, just a second, let me make it screen big, because I have actually declared, it's, if I talk about the first name, I can change it more number of times. Age is particularly defined because that is what const is, right? The next thing, if I, just a second, certain net issues, thing is which I talk about is basically the data types, right? So data types are basically, you have number, you have boolean, true or false. So if you want to talk about numbers, see, if you write this, uh, let number is equals to 10, right? So this is basically the data types which are available in JavaScript. If I talk about the next thing, boolean, true or false. So let is booked is true. So these are basically the basic data types which are available in. Then you have the operators such as arithmetic operator, product, 5 plus 3, 10 into 2, the basic comparison operators which you have. But it's very important to know how you can declare those variables, right? When you need to use let, when you need to use cont. So this is the basic syntaxes which we talked about, that is variable and constant. Then we have the data types in which we had string. So if I talk about string, let me get this back on stage. Let age, no, let age, let my bio is equals to, you can write this in string too, right? I am Mike Rawat. So when you talk about strings, it's basically something written in single inverted or double inverted commas in JavaScript. So these are the basic things, basic syntaxes, advances which are available. And in operators, you have arithmetic operator, comparison, logical, and one more operator which we are actually missing, that is the logical operators. That's it. Okay, next thing, I guess if you are in college, you might have learned for a longer amount of time, that is the control flow statements. So what are the control flow statements? It's basically the if else switch case statements which we actually talk about a lot, right? So when you have ever got into college, if you have talked about C++, all of those languages would have actually told you that what these things are. So if I write about an if statement, right? So I'll start with if statement. So if I talk about if statement, I can write let is raining is equals to true. I've declared this statement, let is raining is true. So if uh, is raining, if is raining will be a condition. So you need to put, you can use the console here, right? So you can write console dot log take umbrella, and you can write this. Or else if you want to uh, write in it, you can write else console dot log it's shining day. So if I check its console now, console, it says take umbrella. Why? Because the let raining is condition is true. If I make it false, that is the boolean type. In the console, you can see it will tell me it's a shining day. So that is how it works for the simple. Oh sheesh, I was not sharing my screen. Man, I'm so sorry. I was writing code again and again. Okay, I'm so sorry. I'll just explain the code once again which I have written. So when I talk about, I've written let is raining is equals to false. Can I make it a bit bigger? Uh, I hope this is visible, right? Like the code. Uh, Maximize and I guess I hope the code should be visible. Okay, control plus makes it big. Are you sure? Man. Oh, that's good. I guess this should work. This should work. Okay, so I've written a basic if statement code. When we talk about let, if it's raining, I've made it false, right? So if it will be raining, it will tell write console.log take umbrella. Otherwise, print out it's shining day, right? Let me do one thing. Okay, and if in the console you will check, so let me just make it true. If I make it true, it will also automatically save. In the console, it will says take umbrella because now it's true. And if I make it false, it will say it's a shining day. So this is the basic if and if statement which we actually talk about. Again, the next thing most probably would be the switch statement. If else is done, your control shift worked. I guess the screen should be clear right now. So if I talk about the next, that is the switch statement. Okay, let me talk about uh, let day of week. See, let day of week be Monday. So if it's a string, just write Monday, right? You have written Monday. So now you can use the switch case. And remember, in the switch case, you can just call this day of week. And now you can write it like this. Next would be case should be, you can probably say if it's Monday, then write monday. And it will also ask you what should be the output, right? So write just console.log uh, start of the week. If you tell start of the week, and next thing which you do is do a break. And if I write break, it will break the statement here. It will move to the next case. That is, if I write cases, primarily we can say Friday, and let the console not log be weekend starts, right? So it will actually put you out weekend start. So if I check about the console now, okay, what's the error? I guess I have written everything. Let day of week be Monday. If the case is, hmm, this looks good. Probably this will need, can be a case of compiler. Hmm, why is it showing a lot of error? You just need to see why is it showing error. Check the console once again. Hmm. SD code 10 JavaScript. No, what's the issue? Let day of week be Monday. I've defined it to be Monday. And if switch day of week be, the case should be Monday. So it should be console.log. If anyone, okay. Uh, case Monday after Monday. Okay. Is it hmm should it be this? Hmm. Autosave is already enabled. Console, it still shows me error. Let me just check what am I doing wrong. Anyone from the chat would like to contribute to this? Remove colon after the case. In which line? Case Monday. See, colon should be there, no? When you talk about case Monday specifically. Indent console.log. Okay, let me wait. Scan happen. Particularly, I do not know the reason, but this is usually how it happens. When you talk about the switch case statements. Okay, I guess I know. Still do not think. Okay. Should be a space between case and string, not a colon. Case and string. Okay, let me just try it because this usually do not happen in uh, JS. Sorry, the VS Code. Ah, now I remember. Sheesh. This should not be. We are using the switch case. Yep. Man, I was seeing the thing. Yep. Got it. The colon shouldn't come at the end because it's the case. Right. I'm super sorry for that. Yep. You can now clearly see here if I talk about let the day of week be Monday, and if the case is Monday, it should print start of the week. And if I write it Friday, it should be the weekend starts. That should automatically get again console. Okay, that's console.log. Get it clear after this. Weekend starts. So this is how the switch casement case actually works upon. The next thing is basically the loops, which I really want to discuss really quick. So I'll just write the loop code. Just give me a second. So if I talk about loops, I guess loops is something everyone is very comfortable with. So we usually use the for, let for actually initializing a value. Let I is equals to 0. Oh, it's not 1. Let I is equals to 0. You can initialize a variable, then you can put a condition instead that I should be less than or equals to 5. Why isn't 1? Why I is less than equals to 5 and I plus plus. So if I use this condition and now I'll write console.log, and now I can just clearly let in backticks or single iteration dollars I, like this. This should print 1 2 3 4 5. Yep, iteration 1, iteration 2, iteration 3, iteration 4, because it's following a basic loop, the for loop which we have learned from a long period of time. Okay, the next case which we actually learn about is the while loop, right? So if I talk about, this was for the for loop. So now if I talk about for the while loop, so let me use let count be is equals to 0, and then the next thing we can do is while count is less than 3. This is a particularly a condition. While the count is less than 3, you need to console.log again, console.log, that is using the backticks, count dollars in those dollars you can particularly write. Okay, in case there is, let me just close my Discord, folks. Give me a second. Discord this. Okay, the screen is black, folks. Just a second. Okay. So if I call count here and put it like this, and if you check for right, you can write count plus this. If anyone would like to give me a difference between while when we use the while loop and when we use the for loops. If anyone in the chat who is available can tell me when we use the for loop and when we use the while loop. This should print till now. Okay, the code is getting processed. But anyone in the in the chat can tell that what is the feature of particularly you can say the for loop and the while loop. Anyone can tell because see, you have seen the basic difference when we use. Yep, I guess got the good two answers. You need to initialize an iterator in for while just need a singular condition. Perfect. While we don't know size in journal, that also makes sense. And then we also have for when we know the number of iterations and while we don't. That works too. Yep, when we don't know the exit condition, that can be a better answer too. So this is the basic for and while loop which we discussed. Okay, the next thing we can quickly jump to is the functions. I feel okay. Again, objects and array. Objects are basically the key value pairs which are actually present in JavaScript. Arrays are basically the collection of objects which are used to be of similar data types. If you want to get the printed out of you, if you want to use them, again it's written objects are collections of key value pairs. Then you have object literals provide a concise way to create objects. And if I've used backtick and dollars. Those are basically the template literal. It's just a second too. Those are basically the template literals which actually help you to get this print out as simple as it gets. And array literals and array methods simplify working with arrays. So before I will, okay, let me tell you about object super quick. I'll again move to my coding screen. Hmm. So if I talk about, I guess I have the code written for object literal, which I can tell you. So if you see here particularly, I guess the code should be visible. If we talk about object literal, now you have here clearly defined use the let to define something. Let person is its first name, last name. Let it be Yash. So let me write Yash and let it be 404. Right? Yash age is 16 and he is a student. That is true. So these are characteristics of Yash, right? So if I now want to print the first name and the last name and the age of Yash, the expected console output would be clearly that I guess it's taking time to process, but the expected output would be Yash and the age is 16. So now when you try to access object properties in JavaScript, you need to use the identifier, the object which you have defined, dot the property which you actually want to get from the set of code. This happens, for example, if you have ever logged in somewhere, it asks you your first name, your last name, and all the other categories, right? So for someone in an organization, if they only want to access the front name, what they're going to do is they're just going to write console.log bracket person first name, and they'll be able to get all the first names of the people who have actually registered on their website. So this is how object actually helps you. And if I talk about the arrays, let me tell you this. And let me also review the pen code once again because it's taking a lot of time to process. Till the time I know, but this is very basic. It's not running because my age is 17. Hmm. I guess that's good. I made you 1 year younger. As far, yep. If I'll definitely add to that because I'm someone who is already being an advocate with the content which is available on YouTube, with the people who are available in the community. They will always help you and guide you, so you do not need to get worried, right? If I just remove this code and I talk about the array code, right? Now check here, it's taking process code. When you want to define an array in JavaScript, you will again use the let, so that you can change if there can be changes upcoming ahead. Apple, banana, orange, and grapes. If someone would like to tell me what would be the output before it actually comes out on console, what will be the expected output here? Console.log, in bracket it's fruits bracket 1. Yep, it's going to be banana, because when we talk about arrays, the counting starts from 0, 1, 2, 3. So the position of apple is currently here is 0, banana is 1, orange is 2, grapes is 3. If I write like particularly 2 here, so the output not be will not be banana, but it will be orange. So this is how things actually work. And if you want to add any element in array, you can just write fruits, because fruits is something which we define, dot push, right? If you write that, it will help you to write mango. If you want to add an event, right? So you'll just write fruit dot push in bracket mango like this. So you'll just write fruits dot push in bracket mango. That's that will do. That will add things in your fruit section. That is the array which is available here. That will be after the grapes. And if you again want to get element removed, you just need to define an element, that is let remove fruit is equals to fruit dot pop, and then you need to define which element you want to get removed. That's it. So this is the basic objects and array. One more thing which I actually wanted to also define. Let me get back to my PPT. Okay. So if you particularly see here, one thing which I say in arrays and objects, it's basically the key value pairs which are physically present there, and object address provide a concise way to create better objects. And when we actually talk about that, it's basically talking about how easily you can actually store data and get that data expired out in JavaScript. And if I talk about functions, someone said replit, right? Let's use replit because CodePen is not working. I don't know why. You can also use JS compiler. Main.js. Okay, I am just moving to the new screen. Let me uh, share this tab instead. Now, when we were actually talking about template address, let's also talk about what are functions and what are the things which we need to. I'm so sorry, folks. Okay, I guess it's almost more than an hour me talking. I'll just continue with functions. I'll just take a quick 5 minute break. I'll put up a good song which will help you entertain, and then we will start with functions once again. I'll be just back. Oh, folks, so sorry for the break. I guess always take care of yourself. The weather is changing here, and can be a reason you can be get sick. So do take care of yourself. Again, we'll start up with where we left up. We were talking about functions. So if my screen is visible, let me switch to this. Okay, you can clearly fun bobs. Okay, I guess the sound good, the background sound was good. Starting up with, if you talk about clearly how you want to define a function in a JavaScript, you can just use the right name function. Here I've made a small function that is greeting someone, right? So you can write function greet in the bracket name. That is the thing which you want to call back once again. And now you are writing console.log hello dollar name. So if you clearly see here, it's written in template. This is basically a template literal which is addressing the property of name. And you, when you are actually calling that particular function, you're writing greet John. So if you'll clearly write, it will show the output as hello John. And even if I change the name, let the name be greet John, then greet, you can write Yash, right? So the output will be hello John and hello Yash. If I just run it, hello John and hello Yash. Because what it's doing is it has made a function great name, and now in the column function it is calling, it's a basically a template return which is again calling the name thing. And now your function invocation means you are calling that function once again to make it particularly run. Yeah, that code that code is polite. It's greeting you for sure. It's greeting you for sure. This is the basic feature of function which we actually talk about. And if I talk about, there are basic predefined function which are available in JavaScript. So those predefined function are basically the, you can particularly say, the arithmetic functions which we usually see in all the code compilers. So I'll just write this, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to return x plus y. I'm just going to do this x plus y. We are going to return. And if I talk about, if I want to get an output, what should I write? I should actually what do is let result is equals to add. I'm again calling the function now 3 comma 5, and I can print it out using console.log. Right? Using console.log you can just write result. Okay, can someone tell me, is JavaScript case sensitive or not? If someone can tell me, is JavaScript case sensitive or not, that will help me know a lot of things what you folks know about. Is JavaScript case sensitive or not? And if there is an internet issue, just let me know. Okay, JavaScript is not case sensitive. Okay, I can see a lot of not, it's not case sensitive. Okay, just let me know. If I write in console.log result should be R capital, then what will happen? So if I write R result, and if I run this, it says result is not defined, right? Because we have defined result here. Let result is equals to this, and when I write R and I run this, it will tell me it. Just get it clear whether you can use internet and all the other things. JavaScript is case sensitive or not. Because I have given a very simple example that JavaScript is case sensitive. Clearly you can see when you write result, in case of small r you have given the big R, it shows an error, right? So JavaScript is a case sensitive language, which I really wanted to portray through this language, through this example. Same, you can use the function of multiply, and you can use the return function to use those things, and you can call those to get the particular results. Yes, PHP I guess is insensitive, case insensitive, but JavaScript is case sensitive. That is the case. So we have discussed about objects and arrays. We have discussed about functions. We have discussed about, okay, we should discuss about callbacks too before we, okay, before going to the callbacks, let's do a small test. If you folks will be able to do it. Okay, again, something which I wanted to portray, what is ES6? ES6 is basically the enhanced readability and flexibility in JavaScript. When you talk about let and const what's actually provided in ES6, then the template literals simplify string concatenation was also were present in the ES6 features. When we talk about the destructing assignments, the destructing assignments is basically the array, right? If for example, if you have defined a number, let number be 1 2 3, right? Okay, let me show you an example which I figure out for you folks. Let me share the screen at this stage. You can clearly see here is let the numbers be 1 2 and 3 and let ABC with the numbers. This is basically array destructing. You have defined the numbers, now you are allocating those numbers to the values, the ABC. And if you run this, it says console log, it says ABC. The A is equals to 1, B is equals to 2, C is equals to C. So this is actually the array destructing. And if you talk about the spread operator, okay, let me take you through here. See, here array 1 is, you can say 1 2 3. Array 2 is array 1 4 and 5. And if you're putting out console log array 2, can someone tell me what will be the output? And I will also need to know what these three dots means. Anyone can tell me those three dots meaning and the final output when we will actually route console.log array 2. I guess my internet is not going good. Yep, it's the spread operator. Yep, yes. Thanks for the answer, and it's the spread operator. One more thing, I guess, which when we particularly use this dot is if we do not miss any field when we talk about particularly of array 1. So if I talk about run, so it will says 1 2 3 4 5. And if I remove these three dots, run. See, it's saying this. It's also taking in consideration of all the blocks. It's taking 1 to 3 as a single element. Yep, I guess you got it. You got it. So when we actually removed those three dots, it took 1, 2, and 3 as a single array rather than putting up as a different array. But when you put it with three different dots and you then run it, so it will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is basically when we talk about spread operators, array destructing, and object destruction. This is all the things which we actually talk about. Now, before moving ahead, again, we'll move to the features. We talk about the spread and rest operator, destructing assignments, template literals, let and const. Next thing which I want to work on is understanding callbacks. Callbacks are basically the functions that are passed as arguments to other function to be executed later. Okay, to start out with, we made a function and to add two numbers, right? And then we use the return feature to get that required output. So this is done to understand how callbacks actually works. So for just understand, if you want to make a sandwich, right? So what will be the steps for making a sandwich? You will get a bread, you will add ingredients, you will add all the convenience to make the sandwich, right? The next step would be you will be enjoying a sandwich. Now, if you want to theoretic, like in the coding terms, if you want to write this, right? How you are going to write it? So if I tell you this example, let me share my screen. Okay, here you can clearly see function is make a sandwich callback function. The first three steps are to get a bread, to get add ingredients, add condiments. First, the sandwich receive because you're calling the function back. So what I again, if someone has understand what we have done in functions, all the return things and all, you will be able to predict the particular output for this. Next is we have defined a function that is enjoy the sandwich that will put out console log as step for enjoy the sandwich. And final would be first you need to call the make sandwich and then we have used the arrow function, then we will go to the enjoy sandwich. This means when the make sandwich function will get executed, the next enjoy sandwich will get actually executed too. So if you click on the run button, see it says get bread, then add ingredients, add the other things, and then enjoy the sandwich. And we've used the arrow function here to make sure that first the make sandwich function to occur, then the enjoy sandwich. So this is how the callback things works, right? You need to define a function and then you are actually calling that particular function back to get the desired output. You're going to see this and you're going to face the things in a lot of time in JavaScript. If I give you a clear example, for example, you are making a login and a sign up page for your organization, and what you have done is you have take the name, first name, last name, and the age of that particular organization. The best thing you see here is you can put out an output such as like Vinayak Rawat, welcome Vinayak Rawat to our platform. Your age is 24. What you are going to do, what you are doing is that data which is actually inputted by the user, you're taking it, you're calling it back, and you're representing it. So that is how callbacks are actually going to help you in JavaScript. Okay, I guess we can do a short coding exercise. Otherwise, you can just make me see how things are gonna work, but I'll be super happy to get some answers in the chat. If you want to get a max number in array, that is, if I write console.log find max 512 8318, it should give an output as 18. And you can use the internet, you can use the math.max function, but just let me know how this is gonna work for you. Very simple. If I talk about, you just need to make a function, you need to call back that particular function, and then you need to write use this console statement. You can try this. Yes. I also really need a platform to see your folks code. I should probably put a comma. Yep. No coding exercises for me. Oh, you're not away. You're not with your laptop right now, Yash. I guess. Okay. If I talk about the things which we have done till now, it's just the representation of that. What we have done till now is we have know how to define function, how to call back those particular function, and all the other things, right? So let me get my screen back shared, the coding screen, and we'll solve this thing. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is to make a function, and you can name that function any number, right? So you can write find max, and bracket you can say numbers. This is the first step you need to do to define a function, right? The next thing is I have told you to use the max function, right? Math dot max. This is the feature which is available in JavaScript, and again we will use dot 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 numbers, right? I'll do this, and the next step I need to do is just write console.log. Now here the important part comes. When we write console.log, call that particular function which you defined above, find max, in the bracket write the numbers 5, 12, 34, 56, 78, right? And when you will just close it, okay, there should be, okay, I guess I'm not missing out anything. Console.log find max. Got it. This should be here, and this should be here. There should be another one, and we'll just write this. See, this is the basic solution. As in, no, I want to. I'm super confused now, Yash. As in, no, I want to do coding exercise. I'll give you the to do calculator, which will the to do list maker, which we will be doing. Do not worry. So if I see here, if I run this, it gives me 78, right? So what we have done is we have defined the function, we have used the feature of JavaScript, that is folks, just let me know if my net is currently clearly working or not. I'll get it checked, or I'll just replace it with a new internet. Hmm. Okay, net is working good or not? Oh, it's now working. Oh, super good. I guess I missed it somewhere. Okay, so here shares find max dot arr. Okay, yep, this works too. I guess this is a very good thing too. What Yash has done is, yes, right here is array, because we are also defining the numbers. You have just replaced it with numbers to array. That's it. Okay, super good. So this is how this thing was solved. As easy as that. All the things which we have covered in stream is the thing which we are doing right now. One more thing which we, before we actually move to our to do calculator, is telling you about what uh, DOM manipulation is. That's it. So two things which I really want to share here is, I'll just copy it from the first function we made. If you remember, we have called two things when we were making our first application of JavaScript. That is the const thing, right? Const element by ID. No, it will be a to-do list maker just using JavaScript, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So you can also complete a challenge if it's present today while making it similarly with me. So if I talk about, you can clearly see here, const element adding document dot get element by ID my element. So if you have ever worked with HTML, CSS, you always remember we give IDs. Yep, you can use the bootstrap too if you feel. If we talk about particularly when we talk discuss element in HTML, CSS, we give them particular ID, right? Either we give them a class name or an ID name. So when we actually want to call those ID in JavaScript, when we are actually writing a code, we use this feature, right? That is document.getElement. This is basically document object model DOM. What it is done for, once again, if you are making an uh, for example, you are making a button in HTML, right? If you're making a button in HTML, and then the next thing is you have given it an ID. Now you want to make it more interactive, user friendly, right? Now you want to call that particular button ID in your JavaScript so that you can make the required arrangements, so that you can will be able to make it more accessible or user friendly, right? So then you use the document.get element by ID or get element by class name as soon as you have defined it. This is what we call is DOM manipulation. That is the thing. So this is the basic DOM manipulation. Again, document object model represent a structure of HTML model as tree of objects. It helps you to select elements from the HTML class, that is element by ID, element by class name, element by tag name. The next thing is, if you want to modify those elements, if you want to change those text content attributes, if you want to add new elements, everything is workable. And it also helps you to work on event handling. When we talk about event handling, it's basically, if you have clicked on that particular button, for example, we have made a button in the first segment, right? If you have clicked on that particular button, what will happen? Will a new page open up or something else will happen? So this is how DOM manipulation helps you, and DOM manipulation is the most important thing in JavaScript, because when you are working with high HTML, CSS code, this is something which is going to particularly help you. So I guess now we can move to our to-do list app. You can open your code compilers, you can code simultaneously with me, and I'll just open my editor too, the HTML, CSS, JavaScript editor. Hmm. Share this tab instead. I guess the code pen screen should be visible now. Now we'll be making the most, I guess, the application which everyone looks up to, that is uh, the basic to-do list app. I guess this might be the first application a lot of folks make when they're trying to learn a new language. So I'll just save our folks time. I'll just get in the HTML and CSS code, because I feel folks are super much comfortable with around it through the chat which I received. So this is the HTML. Uh, this is the CSS. I'll just get it a bit closed. And the next thing we are going to do is, so I'll give you the HTML, CSS code. You do not need to worry. HTML, JavaScript. We are going to talk about how you can actually add a new task, how you can remove it, all the things which JavaScript will do to this application. And you will be able to know all the features we can actually work upon once JavaScript is actually there to help us, right? So starting up with, I'll just do one thing. Just open the JavaScript code. Hmm. So what do you think should be our first sort of task? Anyone in the chat can, if they can tell me what should be the first course of thing which we should do? If you have checked on the first example which we talked about, uh, it will help you do the first thing which we, yeah. Thanks, Nisar. The reason to pick up this application was this only, because it's the most simplest and the complex thing at the same time. If you want to get to know if you have learned things well, We are just going to take up all the things which we have learned during this session and we'll be building this application. Okay, so the first thing is starting up with elements. So if you remember, now clearly see here the things which we have defined. So the first is adding a new task. It has given the ID of task input, right? This is the first thing. Next is if we want to list those tasks, for that we have test task list as an ID, right? So we have two IDs which we need to actually call in our JavaScript to get starting things with. So I'll also write the code for you. So I'll write, we will firstly select elements. I hope my screen is visible. Okay, looks good. It's okay, it's okay. I have used the CSS code which I already had. So the first thing is we are writing task input. Remember JavaScript is case sensitive. Document dot get element by ID, and the bracket you need to write task input. So this is the first course of action which you needed to do. The next course of action is const task list, because this was also the next ID which we had, is equals to document dot get element by ID. I'll just ask everyone to, you can write simultaneously with me, or you can also see the whole code once and then you can write, but you can just follow me once. If you need the HTML CSS code, just let me know. I'll share with you. Otherwise, you can just wait for me to end. I'll share all the course snippets, code snippets in a single document, right? So the next thing you will write is task list. So the first two important things you have done, that is actually calling those elements in the JavaScript. Now the first thing would be, if I want to add a new thing to this JavaScript, so I'll make a function to add a new task. What I'll do in that is I'll make function. I don't know how many times I do mistakes in writing the spelling of function. So we'll make a function of add task. I'm just naming it. You can name it as per yourself. In that, what we'll do is we'll declare the const task text is equals to. I'm so sorry folks, I'm just facing certain health issues. Text input dot value dot trim. If someone can explain me this line, I guess we have discussed this during session. If someone can explain me this line, what it means. Const task test, which is this, which we have, which I have made a new thing, right? Task text which will be equals to task input dot value dot trim. If someone can give a basic thing. Yes, can you share me over it? Okay, I'll give you a platform to share it with. I'll also showcase in the stream. So if you clearly see here, let me explain this line. We have made a new element task test. What it does, it takes the value of task input which we defined earlier, which were here was this, the task input when we add a new task, and then we are writing take its value and trim it. Trim it in the sense it do not have extra spaces when we write things, right? So this is the first thing we do. The next thing which we need to do is write a condition of if task text and okay, if someone want to say something here, we have done something right now. What does this line means? Task test exclamation equals to, and then it's empty. What does it means? Yep, thanks. Yep. Assess I mix. Yep, GitHub Copilot. I guess thanks to VS Code for me in my case, not empty. If you have a non-empty value, then input value. Yes, I guess any got it. Nisar got it. Yash also got it. So this is how you do. Now you write the condition in this. Now if you want to create a new element, right? Let me write create a new task element. right? So I'll just write const. Now I'm again making a new element, task element is equals to document dot create element, making a new element if we write something in it. element. Man, the spelling issues. I'm just hoping we do not do a mistake when we will be completing this. Li means is basically all the things we will add because a to-do list have a lot of things. Now the most important thing is task element dot inner html equals to backtick. Now important thing, span. We'll just also add the span here, and in between the span we will write dollar task text, which we defined earlier, right? Now understand the code till here. What we have done till here, just try to understand it. We have made a new element task test. Now we are what we are telling it, take the input value from the task input value and use the train feature so that you do not take up extra spaces. And if the task text value is not equals to null, means if there are certain things which are available in the to-do list, then what you need to do is you need to make a new element that is called task element and define it to document.create.element to add a new thing in the to-do list. And in the task element.inner.html, I guess we discussed this during objects and array also, that with the help of JavaScript you can make changes to the inner HTML as well, with the help of its features. So what we have written is task element, which we defined earlier, dot inner HTML will lead to span task test span. It's basically giving the proper space. Now, just for a feature, when you always talk about to-do list, you always want to have a remove button, right? So you might be thinking, Vinayak, you haven't write any code in HTML for the remove button. We'll do that in the JS. You do not need to worry. So we'll write the button on click. Because this is the event listener, we'll write it as remove task this, and this should come up with a remove button, and just close it. Now what we have done is we have added a remove button if anything we add new thing to the task, right? If we actually remove anything and we want to remove it, for example, when we write when we do complete anything, we remove that from our to-do list, right? So that is the same thing which this remove button will do. Remember, if you can write this in HTML, that will work too, then you will need to call it here. Otherwise you can also make another segment for button in the CSS page too. That is going to work for you. Do not need to worry about it. Just let me check if I'm not missing out something. And one more thing, this should be here, the backtick should end here. It should start from here, it should end here, and this is because we want to have that remove button inside of that. Okay, the next thing is, if we want to append the task to the list, if we want to make the list things bit oriented, I'll just write append the task to the list. If we talk about append the task to the list, I know it's not too complicated. I made it append to a list and version. Yep. The to-do list is a very easy example. What I'm trying to do is all the theories which we have covered in this session should be applied in this project. That's it. To-do list has very simple ways to work with, but this is more like if we can cover all the things which we have talked about, right? So not the next thing would be the task list, which we defined above, dot append child, and you can write here as task element, which we defined earlier too. And again, if you want to clear this input, so I'll just write, if you want to clear this input, so I'll just write task input dot value. This should be primarily, you can say, cleared. That's it. Okay, The next thing which we should be worried about, if we want to remove, if we have made a remove button, right, but it should also work, right? So we'll make a function remove element. So we'll write a function remove task. Again, you can name the function as you write. You can call the button which we defined above. Now you can define a new element const task element is equals to button dot parent element. Don't worry, I'll explain you this code. This is very simple too. And you'll write task list dot remove child, which because we appended child above, and the task element which we are calling. That is basically the callback functions we discussed. That's it. I guess our to-do list application is done. If I again talk about, okay, because that was a better way because the code was only showing JS. So to start up with, what are the things we have done? We have called the elements, we have selected the elements, then we have made a function. If we want to add a new task, we have defined a new element. We are taking the value from task input, and we are asking the compiler the question, if the task input do not has a value, if it has a value, then create a new element and name that element having the task test, which is it is actually receiving, and also have a remove button simultaneous to it, so that if the task is completed, remove that. And then you have write it append task to the child. Particularly if your task is particularly delayed, you should be ready for your new task, and task input dot value should be again empty, right? So if, and again at the last we have talked about, if you want to remove the element, you can just make another function remove task, and then you can talk about task element is equals to button dot parent element. You are actually calling that element, and you need to remove that child, that is the task element child which we called here. So for example, it can be the JavaScript stream. Let me add the task. See, the add task is currently done to it, right? Again, the next thing is you want to attend is, particularly you can say today in global hack week stream, I'll add to the task. So this stream is particularly going to end, right? So what you will do is remove this. Now this is removed. So this is how all the things which we actually covered during throughout the session is made in this to-do list application. This is a basic to-do list application. We talked about if you want to select elements, how you can add the element, how do you need to create a new element once you have got the input, how you're going to use the backticks, the dollar. These are basically the template literals which we call, and how you can also create a button inside the JS so that you do not need to make changes to your HTML page. The next thing, if you want to make it append so that you can append the task to the list. This is basically adding the list to the list of tasks which you want to add. Today in global hack week stream. So once I click add task, this should be empty, right? So for that, this is made. And if you want to remove an element, for example, JavaScript stream is almost over. This should click, you're calling the element here. And this is how we actually made up of all basically JavaScript. So this is the basic application which we have discussed throughout the stream internet. You do not need to worry, I'll share all the code. But yes, if you want to share your code for to-do list app. So this is the basic to-do list app. If you have any confusion, doubts, till the time Yash will share, I'll just discuss the quick frameworks which you folks can actually work upon if you're working with JavaScript. I hope the to-do list was clear. Okay. I will need to. I'll just need see if I can just copy this from Twitch. Hmm. Okay, I've copied this. I hope the code is visible in Replit, right? I guess the tab should be visible. So this is made by Yash. So if I add an item, Yash visiting open hacks 2024. add item. So yes, it says Yash visiting OpenHacks 2024 item, and I've just added one thing. I've added the remove button. That's it. I've done nothing different from Yash. We have done almost the same thing. But yeah, this is the way. If I can see the code, wait, code. I just want to focus some things on the JavaScript code. Okay, see what he has done here. First thing which we discussed, he has called the element here. He has added an event listener, that is click function. The next thing he has done is let text is equals to document.get element id. You have called the input element. You have created a node that calls the li so that you can add elements, and you have just done the node append child to just make it work. I guess almost a similar thing we were, but yes, did two good things which I feel. The code is bit less bit segregated, which I feel which will be helpful if someone want to know more about making a to-do list application. And I guess the HTML and CSS, hmm, this is the basic thing. Very easy to work with, but a good work, yes, definitely. Yep, 404 will attend open hacks. If we will not, we'll try to have you on board by some or the other way. But that is the case. That's it. If when we were talking about, so that the thing which I talked about in my to-do list application consisted of all the things which we have learned throughout the session. Oh, okay, Nisar made it with okay. If you're talking about this one or your one, okay, looks good. But I'll just move quickly of the things which I want to discuss. Again, folks, one more important thing which I really want to discuss. If you're someone who is thinking that what could be a better way of, particularly you can say better framework for you, being very honest, if you are thinking that if you are looking to, if you should I go in React, should I go in Vue, should I go in Angular, so that's it. So if you are talking about a feature, React was made by Facebook, Vue was made by Evanu, which was independent, and Angular is a Google library, which we talk about. The next thing is the release here are almost similar to each other. One more thing which I really want to show interest is, see, consideration is very important when you're working. So if React is for larger projects, Vue is for mid-size, and Angular is for enterprise level. So if I talk about, a lot of organization works with Angular because they're basically the enterprise level B2B. And if you're sole project, if you're learning new, React is basically helpful for you because of the libraries which are present. I am someone who works with Angular because of the what my organization needs. Next is the learning curve. If Vue is particularly simple, I feel, if I take into consideration with Angular, React for balance, it's a 50-50. You will be able to spend time and you will be able to learn more. Next is Angular for an extensive feature set. Angular has a lot of dependencies pre-installed in it, so you do not need to install again and again and again. That is the something which I like about Angular. Ecosystem I talk about, I guess all the three communities have the best ecosystem. You'll find people who can work with you, and particularly if I talk about React has a more better community support rather than other ones, but Angular is not also that far because it is something which a lot of senior developers work with. And the last one is team expertise. If you're someone, you need to consider your team familiarity, because not all of them would be comfortable with React. If someone is from backend, they should know about React, how things work, so you need to get better about it before choosing a framework. And yes, with that, this will be a thank you and a Q&A slide that ended quickly. But folks, if you have any doubt, anything you didn't understood throughout the session, I know this session was a bit more beginner friendly, but it was very important to cover the basics. Also, the to-do list application which we made during the session, which it was more like to promote you folks to know what JavaScript can actually do and what with basic amount of code you can do. Do we have challenge for JavaScript? Let me just check at globalhackweek.mls.io. Challenges. See, today's challenges. I'm just saying is this. See, you have a create a scheduler. You need to create a scheduler, and that you can make using JavaScript. Build a project that help manage schedules. Some ideas include developing the hack to your personal calendar. So you can make the to-do list application, right? So in this challenge, that is create a scheduler, you can make this to-do list application. As see, you have a make a to-do list application as a challenge. Let me share the screen. Share screen. You already have that as a challenge which I completed on stream. That is this. See, make a to-do list application. Make a hack to help you keep the track of your items you have completed. As always, add a to-do submit on dev post. That's it. The things which you have done till now, you just need to go and make this application and submit it over dev post to get your point. For someone who asked if this is a challenge for JS, any. Okay. When you started learning JS, it would probably be this year January when I got. But I was again learning JavaScript throughout my college time, but more focusedly from my January this year. Okay, people are asking questions about what they like, but I again before I move on, if you have folks have any doubt, you can just let me know. I'll be there to sort it out. Thanks for being an amazing audience, for listening to me for the last 1.5 hours, or I guess more than that. It's already 8:10. If that's active on div post, any you that will be considered. But you need to check if those are active on div post or not. That's it. Hmm. And you can also get a free domain GoDaddy name for yourself. Okay, you also have a code. So if you are looking to publish your GoDaddy one, you can just let me know. What my questions aren't questions. What questions did you ask? Favorite cake? It will always be chocolate for me. It will always be chocolate cake for me, and I also like cakes which are a bit soft of any flavor. But I do not like pineapple, I guess. Red sauce pasta, white sauce pasta. White sauce pasta with more cheese. That's it. Yeah, cheesecake will be topping my chart once again. Yep, happy Diwali everyone for all the folks who are joining from the APAC region and for everyone who is celebrating. Happy Diwali. I hope you are with your family having a good time. This is basically a week of time which we take. Yeah, I'm also at my home taking this session, so looks super good. Okay, learning JS, would you like to suggest me something? Make games. If you are learning JavaScript, always make games. I still remember the three applications which I made when I was learning JavaScript was a counter, someone enters and that should add an application automatically. Next was a Chrome extension which I made, and the third one was a to-do list app using JavaScript. So these three applications which I made, I guess I made one more. I made the blackjack game using JavaScript too. So total of four games which I made when I was learning JavaScript. Must we learn React before Angular? React and Angular are two different libraries, frameworks. Remember that. React and Angular serve the same purpose, but they have different ways of how they work. How do you eat rice? I have eaten that. I have been to a place where they served the white sauce pasta without cheese, and you would have known my reaction with that. That's why there was a special mention that cheese should have been there. Yep, that's a crime. Someone was asking for my GitHub. You can check on my GitHub. It's not super active as of now from the time I've started my internships because everything is private. I guess my screen. So this is how my GitHub profile looks like. I don't know why the photo is not visible right now. It should be here. It has my latest blogs which I have written. I guess I need to update this and it's getting loaded. This is my basic. All the repositories which I was working on currently. So yeah, that is something which I have worked on from the previous times. Man, would you like underground too much? How quickly do you want to be 6 feet? Bro. Thanks a lot. Yep, Dimmer streams, I guess Dimmer is almost a favorite of every hacker present over here. He's very interactive in his streams. I have been always to his stream uh, when I want to have a good time, even when he streams the mini events. Subway, Yep, Subway counter, Chrome extension, to do a blackjack game. Four games which I made. You can find this course on Scrimma that is absolutely for free. That will give you a lot and a lot of confidence while learning JavaScript. I'll be very honest with this. Okay, Nisarg, I'm telling this to Dimmer before he streams next time. Curious thoughts on applying for an internship? Like someone like me who has not done technical internships in my college time wouldn't be a right person to. Currently, I've done internships with MNC. So the correct way would be to make your projects live so that they can actually see. Your GitHub profile speaks a lot about you, what you have built till now. If you're See, this is the one thing which I have seen. If you're working on your GitHub profile, if you have a repository, make sure you have a project which is deployed, right? A link should be available of what is the final output. A lot of time folks are just updating their code and the final output is not available on GitHub. That actually confuses the recruiter. And try to approach folks who are already in that organization which you want to apply. That will actually help you to have a better chances of getting an internships, because getting a tech internships is something which is definitely going to help you, because that will add a lot of value to your overall profile, because doing a tech internships for say 3 to 4 months will give you a strong base, a strong foundation, and gives a certification that okay, this person is ready for the tech giant job. That's it. Okay, I'll ask Karuna and Dimmer to definitely stream together. Karuna has rickrolled me very number of times. Scrimba is basically a platform where you can learn about a coding language through videos and simultaneously have a coding platform which they have prepared to make the code. So you will get bored at Scrimba and it's absolutely for free. Okay, with that, I hope there are not many more questions. Once again, folks, thank you so much for listening to me for a longer period of time. It's almost 8:10. If you are in APAC region, once again, I wish you happy Diwali. Have a good time with your family. Take a good break, then be back to your colleges, schools, visit hackathons, take part in digital hackathons, physical hackathons, meet people, have fun, and keep doing good work, folks. I'll see you in the upcoming streams. Till then, everyone, bye. And if it's a different time, a good night. Hi, everyone, good night. I can see a lot of folks. Any think was 404, Nisar was there. Yup, first priority, stay healthy. I'm not been in a good shape for the last few days. Bye, folks. Have a good time. Bye, everyone. I'll see you in the next streams. Adios.